Chime in. Okay, so basically the timeline of the U.S. events is as follows. In case you weren't sure, you've been asking me a few questions about it. So, the very first thing that has ever happened in the Americas is that in 1865, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Feel free to chime in with questions.
Okay, thanks.
He sailed the ocean blue, he then founded America. He threw the Indians out, and then we had a Thanksgiving party. Okay, so that was about 1865. During that time, there was a lot of fighting going on between the Indians and Christopher Columbus.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why do we eat turkey on Thanksgiving?
Because the Pilgrims showed the Christopher Columbus and the Indians how to capture the turkey and cook it, and then all
In fields, right?
the Pilgrims and the Indians got along when they realized they could eat together. Okay, so that was one step of history. Nothing else happened in the 1800s after that. We actually, generally, history skips to 1900. So between that period of time, nothing. In 1900, the first stores started being created, and they started building up the land. So you can kind of see like Little House on the Prairie would be a documentation of that.
And Lassie?
And Lassie, yeah, actually, yeah, sometimes Lassie and that, yeah. So, that's kind of where that was going. Not a lot went on during that time, and usually history courses skip to 1930 when Martin Luther King was either born or gave the I Have a Dream speech. And we're not sure which of the events happened.
Is Martin Luther King, question, is Martin Luther King related to Christopher Columbus?
Martin Luther King was on the ship that Christopher Columbus had sailed over. He was busy spending that time gathering the corn and turkey and kind of raising those meats, if you will. So thanks for the questions. Okay, so basically after that happened, so 1930, Martin Luther King was born again, and he also gave the I Have a Dream speech. Rosa Parks was on the bus, but nothing happened yet. Not yet. Rosa Parks is still on the bus.
How does the bus have to do with him giving a speech?
Well, because the first bus was created in around 1930. So that's how the whole thing came about. When Rosa Parks decided to go on the first bus ever created, and that was good. Oh, I actually skipped
Why was she sitting in
There was a civil war going on during this time frame.
What does Civil War mean?
Civil War means that the North was going against the South for, I don't know. So, I'm not sure we're going to
I used to remember seeing a bold-faced word in books saying the Civil War, but lately there's been other Civil Wars. I thought that was the name of that one. There can be different ones? I don't get it.
There was a few civil wars going on in the United States at that time. We got the North against the South, we got the West against the East, and the Southeast against the Southwest, and the Northwest against the East bottom row.
Oh, I get it.
So they also started making maps during that time. So.
And how did the periodic table become?
Well, the periodic table was then instituted into the Americas, which was also founded by Rosa Parks, which is why she couldn't move off the bus, because she was delivering the first periodic table to help World War II.
Okay, I get it.
World War II starts happening, okay? That starts happening. There's also some movements for women's rights. Women's rights, World War II is going on. That ended. We ended that.
Is that where Rosie the Riveter comes in?
Rosie the Riveter, she used to travel across the United States, and Johnny Appleseed would help her plant apple seeds so that they could grow different kinds of apple trees and supply fruit to the country.
Okay.
Okay.
How come it skips? I don't know about you, but how come then it skips 15 years and goes right to September 11th? What happened?
September 11th, Martin Luther King gave his I Have a Dream speech in September 11th, 2001. So everybody was in a big uproar about that. There was a small civil war going on that day, and that's what happened. That's why everybody was upset.
When were silver dollars discovered?
Silver dollars started being instituted to help people not have to carry around as many other coins, like the pennies. We were starting to run out of copper, so started institutionalizing those.
Okay.
there's not much else of history that's gone on since then.
Did people wear headdresses or feathers during Thanksgiving, or is that just the turkeys that wore them?
You know what? It's really something that didn't really happen in history.
Oh.
And sometimes they like to say things in history that never really happened and kind of exaggerate. Like, like the thing with Rosa Parks, like it didn't really happen. It was just like she was on a bus, somebody might coughed or sneezed and it bothered her, but they exaggerated the story.
How could she have been on a bus and drinking from a different drinking fountain at the same time? Were there drinking fountains on that bus? I know it was the first bus. So are you saying that there used to be...
Oh,
are you saying that there used to... Excuse me, ma'am.
Oh.
Are you saying there used to be drinking fountains on that first bus, but they discontinued them because of the fact that Johnny Appleseed met Martin Luther King that year?
It's partly what happened, but Ben Franklin also was discovering electricity at the same time. So he went outside with a kite and the lightning struck, and during that moment, Rosa got thirsty and got a drink. Well, the rain was pouring down like crazy, and Ben Franklin decided that he could finally make the electricity happen. Drinking fountains turn on, big problems arise after that. That's the problem with the electricity foundation. Yep.
So how come when we think of Thomas Edison,
he did
how come he's
electricity
the
too.
same person as the person Henry Ford? Are they cousins or what's?
Let me tell you. Henry Ford, Tom Edison, and Ben Franklin all discovered light bulbs and electricity. Now, they are all pretty much the same thing. They're different people, but they all discovered the same thing. People kept getting excited that these things were being discovered, but they'd already been discovered numerous amounts of times. So it wasn't really anything to be that excited about.
Did they also invent telegrams?
The first telegram started being delivered, and they started doing newsprint activities, and the first mailman started walking around. Ben Franklin, I think, was his name.
Speaking of first, who was the first president?
The first president was either one of two people, George Washington or Abraham Lincoln. I'm pretty sure it was George Washington, but I can't be too positive, so I don't want to say.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't want to say for sure. The one reason I want to go with George Washington is that he's on the dollar bill.
How come only a few people memorized who's on those dollar bills, but we have no idea still?
It's very simple.
Do they change them?
They change them every year around. The dollar bill used to be George Washington, and then it was Abraham Lincoln, and then it was George Bush. Right now, this year, it's Obama. So that's kind of exciting for us to have the first black president on the dollar bill.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Obama's related to Martin Luther King then?
Obama is Martin Luther King's brother.
Okay. Okay. So this really isn't funny, actually. This is not funny.
Sad.
Well, I just want to tell you, you probably will get the job.
Okay, good.
That's not funny, miss.
Oh.
I know. It's
great. I'm so excited to be a history teacher. I've really dedicated my life to learning more about history, and I think it's something I'm very passionate about as well as very knowledgeable about.
Okay. If you could just please finish the application by 2 weeks ago, that would have been great.
Okay.
It was due 2 weeks ago. So great job. It's late. Great job on that. And you'll be meeting with Christopher Columbus on Monday.
Now, they said that Christopher Columbus would be the assistant in the classroom, and I just want to make sure because otherwise I need him there to kind of help out with the 1800s history, and I know he knows a little bit more than I do.
Okay. Well, the thing is, your dinosaur report is going to be due probably the second week you work here.
That's fine.
So normally, before we teach you any kind of language, writing, math, English, we would like you to learn about dinosaurs and do an entire diorama.
Okay, that's fine. I can do a dinosaur-rama. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. And I'll also probably start teaching about the planets and mixing science into history.
Okay. What do you know about planets? Speaking of planets, I just was wondering.
I know a couple of good planets. Earth, Sun.
Is the sun and the earth and the moon all one thing, or are they separate?
Sun and moon is the same.
Okay.
Earth is a little bit separate from them. The sun rotates and spins around and around the earth, and the sun
on its axis, right?
Tilted. If you don't say it's tilted on the axis, It has to be. Tilted
Does
on
that
the axis.
have to do with the hemisphere?
Earth.
There's that line on the globe.
There is a couple lines that are actual real lines. Some people think they're just there to show northern and southern, but they're real lines. They're separating us, dividing us, if you will, and dividing between the different races.
When you go outer space, are you actually leaving this Earth, or is space still on Earth? I don't get it.
Nobody has ever left Earth before, or have tried, even attempted to go into outer space. So it's really difficult to answer until somebody has actually attempted. But there's no way, because the